If you're working on dirt bikes, you need to have good supplies on hand so you can do the job right. Here's some tips on what we use right now. Okay, so with chemicals and other supplies in your shop, it's very important to have that stuff on hand. If you don't, you'll cut corners and not do the job correctly. So I like to have these supplies on hand. Not everyone has the money to invest in having it all, but as you can, I would get all these supplies so you have them on hand, and as you need to do something, it's there and ready. We'll start just going across the table. First thing is grease and anti-seize. Those are items that you want to have all the time. You see we cut a little lid in, a little hole in the lid, and we have our little one here. And look at this. This one right here is way down in here. People ask us which grease is best. I don't know. We haven't really tested them all. This Moto X one seems pretty dang good. And we tend to stick to the Moto ones. I'm sure there's some automotive ones that are just fine. If you have a great grease that you found, send us a note. Let us know. Okay, contact cleaner. We like to have a contact cleaner, and there are some at the auto parts store. The Klotz one, because you run Klotz, we like that one. Hand cleaner. Now we have it at the sink. We have a nice setup over there. That's pretty cool, right? So we have a nice setup there. And we have a whole shop tour, don't we?
Yeah.
Is that on Instagram?
It's on Instagram.
All right, so you have to go there to see the whole shop tour. But good hand cleaner. Grip Clean has a really good one there. Coolant. You want to have coolant on hand so that if something comes up, you got to do a top end, you're not going to run to the auto parts store and buy coolant. We get lots of guys ask about that. We just run Peak, mainly because they sponsored motocross a long time ago. We find that these kind of coolants are ready to go. They're already 50-50. You don't have to add water to them. They're 50-50 mixed. They're ready to go. Pretty inexpensive. You don't have to have the full Moto ones, but they're fine too. I'm always surprised, Spencer and I, is how little coolant it takes. Almost one of these full bottles for an average bike. Thanks for watching the video so far. Don't forget, if you're going to shop for new parts for your dirt bike at RockyMountainATVMC.com, to click on the link in our description below. Okay, oil. I have plenty of oil on hand. We like to use Rotella. Works really well. Two-stroke oil. We only have... Do we even have one two-stroke right now running?
You sell the white one?
Yeah.
When did you get rid
Gone.
of that?
So we don't have any two-strokes right now.
That's
But we have two-stroke oil R50 on hand. Really good two-stroke oil we found. We like to have air filter oil, a good quality air filter on hand at all times. Now we get into some of the shop supplies. PB Blaster is a penetrating lube. So if you have a stuck bolt or something, it can soak in there. And so that's something like a swing arm pivot or an axle is stuck. You can let it soak in there and get to it. Okay, ScotchBrite pads. There's different grades. These are really good for cleaning things up. When we're washing bikes, we'll scrub the frame. On the aluminum bikes, aluminum frame bikes, we'll scrub the frames. We'll clean up parts. We're always using these all the time. And when they get broken down, then they sit in the sink and we'll scrub our hands with them when we're washing our hands and when they're softer. Brake fluid. With brake fluid, we usually just get a good stuff at the auto parts store. This bottle's good. There's also a metal can one. These are like $10 for a big old bottle instead of spending the $20 for a tiny bottle. And then I'll usually pour it into something like this, and I have a little hose on here, and I'll keep a little, see this nice rivet is my lid? Yeah. So that's our little brake setup. Razor blades. We have razor blades like this all over the shop. And when I say all over, everywhere. They're on every counter. You can kind of, if you search around, you can always see them. They're on magnets. They are everywhere. And we have these things everywhere. And every once in a while we'll go through and throw out the dull ones. We just, we'll always have fresh ones. We use razor blades a lot. WD-40 or just a regular oil-based lube, we use these things all the time. After we wash bikes, we'll put them on the chains. We have these lubes all the time on the bikes. Dielectric Grease, two different ones. This one's kind of a newer one that kind of does a lot of different things, a super lube. Kind of says all that, and there's Dielectric Grease right there. These are really good and important on all electrical connections, especially those that corrode, like a KTM starter button connector. Those are really important. Thread lockers, you want to have these always on hand. I would say these two would be your most important to have. If you're going to pick just two, you're low and medium, and then high is not that often. Oh, high is missing. So anyway, high is over there. That's missing. Baby powder for when you're doing tires to do the tube, the inside of the tire. Baby powder, and why don't we say some tire paste. If you're going to be changing tires, you should have tire paste on hand. We have Hunter Engineering or also Buds, Pro Buds, right there. Shoot it, Pro Buds. Boom. Okay. Another thing we have on hand at all times are plenty of zip ties, all different lengths. So if we got to handcuff anybody, or if we need just little ones, we have all different sizes. We have little ones, and then this is probably the main size we use. I think they call these 6 or 7 inch zip ties, so those are the main ones we use there. I think it's really important to, you're always using rags, and we have different levels of rags. Once our rags are thrashed to a certain point, then they become oil rags to clean up oil messes, and then they get tossed out. So they all go through that. We'll use t-shirts, old t-shirts. We turn them inside out once it's been ruined. We'll use a t-shirt for a rag, and then we have different really nice rags for other use, and then paper towels. The blue paper towels work really well to have in the shop. Different cleaners. We like a soft bathroom type cleaner. It has a little bit of bleach in it. This kind of cleaner works really well because it's soft and easy on the plastic. We use this one when we're washing bikes, or if we're just washing parts in the sink a little bit, just simple stuff to clean. A degreaser, like an air filter cleaner, is a degreaser, and that can work good on when we have our friends' bikes come over, or we buy an old bike to fix up. Well, it needs some degreaser in spots. We use glass cleaner a lot as well on different things. It's not maybe as strong as this, but it works really well and obviously we're using it on goggles, different things like that. Gloves, when we do air filters, we'll always use a rubber glove like this, something like that. You want to have a selection of these so you're not having to do it. If you don't have gloves, then you can do the stuff in a plastic bag and mix it around, but it's much better to have gloves on to do that. When we're changing tires, we're using a little bit. A glove like this works really well. I like these kind of gloves because they're not a lot of padding, and you can still move and do tires, things like that. That's why I like those kind of gloves. Okay. Is that it? I'm not sure how many that was. Throw it up on the screen right here. Okay, that's a lot of good tips for you on chemicals and supplies that you should have in your shop to help you out as you're working on your dirt bikes.
onX Off-Road. Know where to go with the #1 GPS app. Access 500,000 miles of trails and roads, open dates and public lands. The Elite version even shows landowners and property boundaries. Download the onX Off-Road app. To save 20%, use the discount code DBTV1.